Hello and welcome to all my viewers and friends, my subscribers and followers. Today's Nintendo item is pretty special. It's the final Game & Watch from the multi-screen series, and it's called Zelda. Selling a minimum of 250,000 copies. Sales have often been reported that well over 1 million units were manufactured. Issued in North America on August 26 of 1989, Zelda was a truly special game and would go on to be a Nintendo Super franchise staple in the years that would follow this basic LCD handheld. Given the production code of ZL-65, this was the 59th Game & Watch issued. Although this is clearly an embryonic version of an early Zelda game, many of the key dynamics we've become accustomed to are cleverly woven into the storyline and its gameplay. The dual screens are split between the upper subscreen. This is mostly just showing the informational stuff, like the maps, helpful collectible icons, and the Triforce Pyramid are to be found. And then there's the lower main screen. This is where we see most of the gameplay carried out. Here we see the game's cast and crew, goodies and baddies, the characters that may well be familiar to many of you watching today. We'll look closer at each one now. Here we see the sword-wielding central character, Link. He is the hero of this game. Zelda is the beautiful damsel in distress, locked away in a tower, as we join him in this mystical realm of Dungeons and Dragons, where he has to risk his life and fight a monstrous goblin, the skeletons of the evil undead called Stalfos, and phantom ghosts that block his way. We journey, nay, quest through many dark levels to rescue his betrothed, the beloved Princess Zelda. The goblin shown here is likely a moblin, who are recurring enemies in the Legend of Zelda series. They are among the most common enemies throughout the series, having appeared in the majority of games, and are prolific in Ganon's army. Early in the series, moblins originally resembled anthropomorphic bulldogs, but beginning with the game called A Link to the Past, they have increasingly acquired more pig and goblin-like features, as shown here. In all of their appearances, moblins are characteristically depicted as using spears or javelins as their main weapon, which they do here in this Game & Watch version. They are abundant in forests but also occasionally appear inside mountains and are setting seen here, dungeons. When you have completed all the labyrinths and slayed all 8 dragons, the quest will end. The dragons breathe balls of fire, and lash out wildly with their tails, but to even reach this level you must overcome the legions of Stalfos Skeletor warriors and their swords. Ghosts and phantoms are another staple in many Zelda games. Here we have one that creeps up behind Link while he is busy fighting the goblin in the lower screen. Starting the game is quite straightforward. However, unusually for a Game & Watch, this system has a pause and continue button. It also has the option to mute the sound. This is achieved by pressing the D-pad to the left while in pause mode, or when the gameplay is suspended. This original advertisement from Nintendo claims Zelda to be the most sophisticated LCD computer game ever made, and we'd agree. It actually saddens me, if I'm honest, to say goodbye to these clamshell, dual-screen beauties shown in this image from my collection, as we wrap up the review of the amazing multi-screen series of Game & Watches from Nintendo here today. The instruction booklet gives advice on how to attack and defend against the goblin, and also how to avoid the attacks from the Stalfosses and the ghost at the same time. After defeating the goblin, a hidden staircase will appear. This leads to the upper screen where Link will face one of the 8 bosses in the dragon's lair. Interestingly, the continue function works even after Link has lost all his lives. Rather than restart the game, you will respawn with a full health, but your previous score will zero out and be lost. This is a good option to learn the complete game, then repeat it several times to know the patterns and achieve a good score. The booklet finishes up with normal care and maintenance advice, battery removal, and the guidance for both the time and alarm functions, ultimately ending in the various cautions and detailed specification sections. So I think it's time to look at a little section of gameplay. I'll narrate the bits that might make it a little easier to understand. So here we see the ghost character to the left of the lower screen. These can't be destroyed. Link, our hero, is in the center, wielding his sword. Below is a single Stalfos moving backwards and forwards and stabbing up. More will arrive shortly. Again, these can't be attacked. Lastly, to the right of the lower screen we see the goblin and his javelin, for which Link has a shield to defend against. Link has just killed a goblin, and received some points. He has 2 items showing in the upper screen, a tomahawk and a map. The water of life is currently empty. The next thing I'd like to draw your attention to is the number on the lower right-hand side of the lower screen. It shows the enemy's health, which decreases as Link carries out his attacks. Lastly, see the hearts, at the bottom middle of the lower screen. These are Link's lives remaining. So with a single life remaining, Link finally kills the last goblin of this labyrinth or stage. A secret staircase will now be revealed and allow Link to climb up to the dragon's lair. The battle begins. If Link is victorious, he'll receive a single piece of the Triforce. 7 more will be needed to release the princess, but this is the way. Watching the enemy's health drop, Link will prevail. Triumphantly holding the spoils of battle, Link deposits a piece of the Triforce. With a score of 260 points, this labyrinth ends this round and another 5 lives are awarded as Link begins the second stage. To keep the episode length down to a minimum, we'll wrap up the gameplay here. So, what did you all think about it? Pretty amazing for an LCD game is my take on this little marvel. For completeness, here we show the finale that takes place after seeing Link deliver the last piece of the Triforce to the pyramid, and by doing this he allows Princess Zelda to escape. She is finally seen running towards her hero, and together they finally share an impassioned embrace. Zelda was revisited with an unlockable classic version in the Game & Watch Gallery 4, or what was called the Game & Watch Gallery Advance in Europe. The design of the multi-screen was clearly a model for the much later DS series of handhelds. Here is a custom-painted launch DS in Zelda colors from an unknown source. In 1998, Toymax Incorporated was licensed to make the Mini Classics series, keychain-sized remakes of the Game & Watch series, one of them being Zelda. Here is the shipper carton or box, that originally held 10 Zelda games for delivery to retail stores. To the right is a new old stock game with complete contents that a brand new unit had. The Legend of Zelda Game Watch is a multi-purpose wristwatch made by Nelsonic, then later re-released for European markets by Xeon in 1992. While cheap and fun to look at, the gameplay is very poor, and has little to do with Zelda in reality. The color screen series of Game & Watch saw The Legend of Zelda issued in 2021. It sadly never had a classic copy of the original Zelda Game & Watch, which I feel is a missed opportunity. I'd like to take the last few seconds of this particular episode to just look at the star of our show, the very last multi-screen Game & Watch, and reflect upon its beauty. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed this presentation. The facts and tidbits, all I have left to say is thank you for joining me. Please only like us if you actually liked us. Also, please only follow us if you're into a quick but informative show without the drama. Hopefully we'll see you next time, where we'll be looking at a series called The New Widescreen Game & Watch. Bye for now.